Hello and welcome back. In today's video we're going to talk about another really important adjustment layer, and that is the hue saturation adjustment layer. And let's start by talking about what is the hue saturation adjustment layer, or more exactly what it does. What it basically does is it controls three of the most important attributes of color, which are the hue, saturation, and lightness. Keep in mind that lightness is a bit different than brightness, but we're not going to talk about it in this video. If you want to learn the difference, make sure to check out the link of my course. It's going to be in the description. But without further ado, let's just start. And let me show you how to use the hue saturation adjustment layer. For example, let's suppose this is our image. Let me just select a brush, maybe this color, and let's just draw whatever. And suppose we wanted to apply an adjustment layer to this layer, you could simply just click on it from the adjustments menu and basically change the hue or the saturation or whatever you want. This is one way to do it. Another way is to go to image, adjustments, then hue saturation, and you can do basically the same thing. Let's suppose this is what we wanted to do. You press OK, add a new layer and whatever, maybe paint on the same layer, but after a number of adjustments you wanted to, for example, you thought that this color is not the one that you wanted to go with, and even if you press Ctrl Z after a number of tries, it's not gonna be possible since the number is limited. So this is the bad thing about working in a destructive manner. If you want to work non-destructively, you could, for example, right-click, then convert to a smart object, and finally go to image, adjustments, then hue saturation. And now if you, for example, make some adjustments, you could always go back in here, click on this small arrow and double click in here, and you could undo all of your adjustments. Anyway, this was just a quick tutorial on how to use the hue saturation adjustment layer, but for now let's talk about what it does, how it works. Alright, so let's load up our adjustment layer. So this is the hue, and it basically means what color we're choosing. As you can see, we have a lot of colors. Let me explain this further by loading up a solid color. And let's simply start by pressing on the H in here, which means hue. If we move it, you can see that, for example, look at this color. We're changing it by adjusting the hue slider. We could make it green, you could make it yellow or lime green or maybe a red. Alright, you get the point. And what about saturation? This is the amount of color, of the color that we chose in the hue. Let's, for example, go back to solid color and maybe let's go with this pink. Now, instead of pressing on the hue, let's click on saturation. You can see that the more we slide it down, the less amount of color we have. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but if we drag it all the way down, there's not going to be any more of this color. And if we drag it all the way up, you can see that it's really saturated. I hope that makes sense. And finally, for the lightness, it basically means the amount of light in the color itself. And let's do this one more time. Let's pick our color. Now instead of hue or saturation, we're gonna go to brightness. And you can see that if we drag it down, it means basically there is no more lightness, or basically zero lightness. And if we drag it all the way up, it's gonna become the color that we chose. The more we drag it down, the less brightness we have, the darker or the more the color is going to turn into black. I hope that was clear. So this is basically the hue and saturation adjustment layer and what each slider means. And for now, let's just move on to some examples. And let me start off by loading up this quick tutorial, or this quick example, and let's just add a hue saturation adjustment layer. Let's suppose we wanted to change maybe the color of the book. if we just change the hue like this, or the saturation, you're gonna notice that we're changing also the color of the background, and that's not something that we want to do. So let's go back. Instead, we could do something which is called targeting the color. We could click in here and maybe choose cyans or blues, or you could simply click on this small hand icon and pick the color just like this. It's gonna automatically select the blues. And now if we adjust this slider, you can see that the background is not affected. Alright, but we have a small problem in here. We're not targeting all of the colors. That is really simple. Just you could adjust it from here, just like this. And what these small rectangles, or these two small sliders, basically control how smooth your targeting is, or your selection. So let's just maybe make it green. Alright, this is something that I really like, for example. And now maybe we wanted to change the background as well. You could really do it simply by just simply selecting the reds, or pressing on this icon and doing it automatically. And you can see now we have some fragments and the image is not really looking good. So let's again fix it by better targeting the background. And you can see it's really simple. Look at the before and the after. You could choose whatever color that you want, maybe this different shade of green. You get the point. And now for another example before we end the video, let's just load up this second example. Just like this. And I don't know if you can notice, but there's something wrong with this picture, and that is the skin color of this person. Not the skin color itself, but the way it's represented in this picture. So it looks kind of sick. So let's just fix this by simply choosing the hue saturation adjustment layer, and maybe we could do it automatically by picking up this skin color. And if you want to know if you targeted all of the skin, what you could do is you could increase the saturation all the way up, then do the same thing for the hue. And for example, if we didn't select it all, you're gonna see something like this. And by now you know how to fix it and how to make it smooth, just like this. Alright, now let's go back into 0 in here. Let's do the same thing for the saturation. Alright, now that we went back to 0 or 1, doesn't matter in here, we could try to fix the hue or the color of the skin by simply, let's drag it to the right. Alright, it's looking even worse. But if we drag it to the left, you can see that we're introducing back some of the reds. Alright, now it's looking healthy, it's looking good. We don't want to overdo it, so let's keep it this way. Let's see if we could add a little bit more of saturation. Okay, I believe just a tiny bit is enough. Okay, so this is the before and this is the after. We actually fixed the eyes as well. They're looking even better as well. And if you don't want to do that, you could simply select your brush. Let's right click and choose a soft round brush, and using a black color like this, you could paint and hide the adjustment layer from the eyes. It's really simple. And you could use other selection tools like the lasso tool, for example. If you want to remove it from here, you could select it and maybe using a white color and pressing the delete button, you can see that we removed it from here. Just like any layer, you could adjust the opacity and the fill. You could change the blend-in mode. So keep this in mind, and I hope that was clear. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to press like, subscribe, and click on the bell icon to receive notifications about upcoming videos.